Again, why do you think there is growing optimism on the economy?
Well, first of all, Tyler, I think we're coming from such a low base. You think about what we've seen in terms of the return of optimism. It's certainly, we saw an incredible drop in the first quarter as COVID-19 hit, as we started to see the shutdown of the economy. So it wasn't surprising to see a bounce back. I think the optimism has really been built on a couple of things. One is the fact that we have seen the economic data getting better. Secondly, has been the support that we've gotten from the federal government. And you think about this, we're talking about yet another stimulus measure. What we're talking about when we think about the monetary and fiscal policy, this is the most massive mobilization of government resources we've had since the Second World War. And it was critically important, Tyler, because it needed to do two things. One, it needed to protect household balance sheets to make sure that the consumer would not be compromised and that they'd be able to actually spend money once COVID-19 passed. But then there was a second element here, and that was to preserve as much of the commercial infrastructure as possible. So when we did restart the economy, it was actually an economy to restore. So that's why I think there's been some encouragement here, is that when we talk to business owners, one of the things they've talked about is the benefits that they've seen from the fiscal stimulus and the monetary policy moves. These have certainly been supportive of business. So I think that's helped bolster confidence, at least in the short term.
So that tells me, at least, that if this next phase of stimulus founders and doesn't get passed, the economy is vulnerable and the market, which is anticipating it, would be vulnerable as well. Can I come to any other conclusion than that? Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to get something done. It sounds like they are.
No, I think that's a fair conclusion. Look, at the end of the day, I mentioned that we're trying to protect balance sheets and preserve commercial infrastructure. And we have to recognize, of course, the crisis hasn't passed. We still are facing the challenge of COVID-19. So until that challenge is behind us, it means we're going to continue to need that support. Now, by the way, we don't want simply open-ended coffers. We don't simply want fiscal spending for the sake of fiscal spending. But when you have this kind of a transitory and acute shock that we're seeing right now, government needs to do whatever is necessary to make sure that the economy is able to go through a healing process once the crisis passes.